regionalization is this means of taking over whole areas of county commissions and so forth, getting multiple communities, multiple counties into this, under a same umbrella. And what it does is it changes our system of government. Non-elected, appointed people are making decisions, and they have literally usurped the power of local elected communities. You elect, say, a city council that you want to run your community this way, but oh no, you're in this whole collection of counties. They've applied for the grants. They are making the rules, and so you can't make that decision. So that means it doesn't matter who you elect. They're in charge, and they're going to do what they want to do.
Regionalism is where they take, for example, in the Bay Area, the One Bay Area Plan or Plan 2040, 101 cities and 9 counties, and put them under a comprehensive smart growth plan. The power of we, the people in the United States, is that we have a voting system where we get to say, wait a minute, you representative, you're not representing me anymore, I'm voting you out. If you're in a small town and you're now part of a larger town and that's part of a larger region, your vote, your power as we the people disappears.
The radical left is already calling for this as it champions the millions of immigrants that have entered the U.S. illegally. This is happening now on the U.S.-Mexican border. And if the UN's agenda is fully implemented, you can bet the U.S.-Mexican border will no longer exist and mass migrations will be the order of the day.
So, without foreigners getting inside in a country, it's really a problem for the country. I'm talking about intellectuals also, but also people who are going to work in our farm, we're talking about people from Latin America coming here illegally, going back, bringing the money back, but they're doing a lot of work what Americans don't want to do it. Long if they're not criminals, if they want to work. Yeah, wonderful. I think there have to be solution for people what want to come in this country, work a certain amount of the time, go back. They don't have to be punished for that. Kick out all criminals. Work out on education for all people here and people what coming out here to be educated. It doesn't matter if they're legal or legal.
If the UN's agenda is fully implemented, you can bet the U.S.-Mexican border will no longer exist and mass migrations will be the order of the day.
In order to have a new world order, as they like to call it, which is, all pretty much the same, all nations the same, and all rules and regulations with the same concepts of what is right and what's wrong, the same judicial system and all of that sort of thing the same, you have to eliminate the differences. Of course, that's axiomatic. So up until fairly recently, there have been substantial differences between nations based on culture primarily. Well, it's necessary to get rid of those differences if you're going to really build a new world order. What better way than mingle the populations, bring mass migration from one area, put it into another area, and dilute the whole thing. It's like a big stirring pot. So that, in my view, is pretty much what the motivation is behind this mass migration movement, is to dilute and to literally destroy any firmly identified cultural differences so that what is left will be easily malleable into a unified, so-called one world state. Now that leads to a condition where there's so much chaos, and the average person is so frightened by it that they will be grateful for martial law. This is the end game, in my view, of what's going on with this mingling, quick mingling of conflicting cultures, is to bring about chaos at such a level that it'll seem justified, and thank goodness you did that, government, to bring in martial law to quell the violence. Of course, once the martial law is established, it will never go away.
At least when there's an evil dictator, that human is going to die. But for an AI, there would be no death. It would live forever. And then you'd have an immortal dictator from which we can never escape.
Why do you think the globalists, embedded in the Democratic and Republican parties, as well as the deep state and the mainstream media, are fighting over the wall Trump wants to build? The wall represents a barrier to mass migration, and mass migrations are part of the regionalization one would find prior to the establishment of a global government.
Regionalism in America is primarily focused upon the implementation of the COG agenda, the Council of Government agenda. Again, councils of government are everywhere. The Bay Area has the most advanced council of government in the nation. It is the elimination of the election of local government. That is what dissolves the American Republic. And when you were in grammar school, at least in my era, we learned the most important facet of American government isn't what DC does. It isn't even what Sacramento does. It's what happens in your local community. And today, regionalism has been engulfed with this concept of councils of government, which puts local government into a position where it's implementing, without electoral accountability, globalist plans for ultimate inculcation into world government.
Regionalization is an interim step to full globalization, and so it empowers the city-state or the mega-region. And most people are completely unaware of the mega-regions. There are 50 states in the United States, but there are 11 mega-regions. Specific locales that are huge cities are actually joined together. So you might have the Northern California mega-region, which goes from Northern California, extends into Nevada and into Washington. And then the Northern Washington mega-region actually goes into Canada. The Southern California mega-region extends into Mexico. So you're breaking jurisdictional boundaries. It's not the entire states that we're talking about. These are portions of states and portions of countries. You actually break the jurisdictional boundaries. So you can destroy the ability of individuals to have representative government.
Again, this is all happening now. The writing is on the wall. Look at NAFTA, short for North American Free Trade Agreement, a regional trade law. This already happened. NAFTA was signed into law by Bill Clinton, the same rogue that signed Executive Order 12852 to unleash Agenda 21 across all federal agencies. NAFTA was a trade bill designed to bleed the U.S. dry in the name of social equity, one of the 3 E's of sustainable development discussed earlier. Under UN Agenda 21's NAFTA scheme, the United States has been deindustrialized, its middle class almost destroyed. The fact that this has happened under the watch of not only the UN's World Trade Organization, but the Democratic and Republican parties is proof that the governing elites in these entities are attempting to sabotage the United States. Many would call this treason. The mechanics of establishing a world government are happening all around us. Is this hogwash?
We can see this in our daily lives. We are seeing high-rise buildings housing more and more people concentrated into cities and being drawn out of rural areas. We are seeing cameras pop up on every street corner. There are literally millions of cameras watching our every move. Smart meters, which are being installed on our homes every day, are measuring our energy use. And by that, the power companies can understand what we're doing. If we're using our hairdryer, the amount of energy we're using is showing up in their monitors. These are just 3 examples of how the implementation of the one world government is already happening.